we are going to move on to the third set, which is actually on one of my favourite maps. I know I have a lot of them. Actually, Judgment Day, which is a map that you don't really see very often anymore.
I'm actually really curious as to why you like all these maps. I mean, besides the fact that this one has a place where you can drop, and the fortress has a good dropping place. I noticed that all three of them also have a well, not low ground main, but no ramp between main and natural, which is not something I generally feel benefits Terran at all. So it's a curious chance. But with Siege Expand, maybe it's not so bad then.
Yeah, I guess the reason why I like them is because I started really watching in 2009, and that was when these maps were around. Like, one of my first games I think I ever saw was on Judgment Day, so I just remember this map. It's kind of strange, but I've never been a fan of the more... I guess these are standard in their way, but I've never been a fan of like Fighting Spirit and what. So I have a very eccentric taste in maps, you might say, if we're gonna go for the good old English.
If you can afford me a minute, I just want to explain something. I think why so many people prefer to play on Fighting Spirit is it's just so simple. Pro gamers had weeks and weeks to find out all the intricacies in all these maps, and that's why we saw such amazing gaps on maps that are more complicated. I can hardly tell you maybe 3 or 4 games that I really liked on Fighting Spirit, but I can name you multiple iconic games that I liked on Fortress, on Judgment Day, and all these other maps. And that's what makes it, I think, maybe a little bit harder for our players. These are standard maps, but they're somewhat not standard as well. They're kind of they're not even really gimmicky in most senses, but it's just a different style of play that most people are not used to playing nowadays. To talk about this map in particular, Zerg 29-20, slight advantage on this map. I can definitely see it because of the fact that it should be quite easy to take like 7 bases and 4 gas for them if the need arises. And the low ground to low ground makes it all sorts of bust and stuff run by is a lot easier.
Yes, I mean, in CVP especially, you have that. There's a really easy choke to take in just in front of your natural. Well, I guess it's more in front of your third base, but that third base is a small mineral only base, so it's not going to benefit. I guess, if anything, it'll benefit Zerg a little bit better because it'll be a lot easier for them to hold the 3 bases. But eventually, I mean, that choke is also really easy to hold for Protoss as well, so I think there's actually walls you can do as Protoss that just wall in the 3 bases in one go, which is quite a good position to be in. But then, of course, you do open yourself up to Hydra busts and that, so...
Most Protoss will want to wall up all 3 bases at once. The only issue is that if you're facing Zerg, who has shown the propensity to do Ling run bys, Hydra busts, things of that nature, if you take your natural nexus, your second nexus at the gas expansion, if you have to pull probes for any reason to help defend your wall, it's going to be a long journey. So you might be tempted to take the mineral only, but that will also delay your second gas, forcing you into a zealot heavy play. Meanwhile, the Zerg, with their first 3 hatcheries, can claim the second gas and the mineral only very safely.
Yeah, especially as 3 hatch is quite a standard play in PvZ as well, or PvP, I guess. It'll be interesting to see Jaedong use semi-aggressive style from earlier in the series, and goes into this third game with quite a lot of bravado, I guess, and see if they can take the series 3-0, or if Pusan can actually hold firm and manage to take the first game in the series for them, which will bring them back to give them the opportunity to get back into the series and win. It's going to be a hard uphill battle for Pusan, though.
All the momentum is behind Jaedong right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a very hard sort of mental game as well for Pusan now. It'll be very interesting to see if Pusan can actually manage to pull this off.
Did you forget the music? On the bottom right, we have the teal Protoss, Pusan, and in the bottom left, we have the white Zerg, Jaedong.
So quite good position here, I'd say, for the Protoss player, actually.
Why would you say that?
I would say it's possibly because you have it's going to be very hard Zerg to really get a large chain, because you can actually loop around the bottom of the map and things like that. So I mean, it's not the best of positions, but I'd say it's slightly more favourable than top versus bottom, and especially cross map.
I think one thing that Protoss does have going for itself is that all of its attack paths are, well, the bottom attack path is relatively narrow, means that he can't be flanked very easily. As long as he leaves some things to defend his natural, well, technically his mineral only his, the place where he's walling off right now, he could do definitely a lot of damage. But it seems like both players are going to scout in the wrong direction. It's going to be interesting to see how they decide to play this out.
Yeah, so for Pusan, he should, I would imagine, if he continues to count in a counterclockwise direction, I think he may actually run into the Overlord. So I guess it depends on the speed the Overlord actually gets up to that northern base. Both players not really getting a scouting advantage here. Will give the Protoss the ability to sort of move up. Actually going to send a second probe out as well, not really willing to risk losing to any early link run bys.
And this wall, I liked it better than his last wall most assuredly. The board seems like it's in a good position. Gateway on top of that will do a decent wall off. And there's enough room behind it for, I would say, 4 or 5 cannons, so I can't see anything too risky. And he is investing in sending that second probe early, just to make sure that nothing too cheesy is happening to him. Is he gonna find the 12 hatch? Yes, he is. He finds the 12 hatchery, which means, oh, and he actually goes for gateway. Ooh, this is bad. Could there be a little bit of... Oh, he canceled the gateway. Yeah,
so he cancelled the gateway. Interestingly enough as well, JD actually sent out a drone scout, but sent in the wrong direction. So JD is actually going to scout last here, which is not very fortunate for him. He's going to find out about the Nexus, but all JD knows right now, he could be facing 2 gates, and he'd be in a very bad position, especially not taking that mineral only a little bit quicker.
And the other thing to note is that this Protoss did decide to put it at the mineral only expansion as opposed to the gas expansion. So I'm expecting to see some very aggressive zealot play out of him on this map, because if you only have 1 gas, there's really not much you can do. You can't tech to Templar and get Corsair very quickly simultaneously. You definitely can't do anything like Reaver Sayer or Dragoon Bust or anything that's quirky like that. So looking, I guess, or maybe he's going to try to go for a quick third base, try to take the third Nexus as soon as possible, invest all of his gas into getting Templar tech and hoping that it holds.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about getting a mineral only, and one thing that especially StarCraft 2 changed a lot as well, is getting a mineral only in especially Brood War isn't too bad, because not only do you get more gateways faster, but you can also get Nexus quicker as well. So given the position of the cannons and everything on this map, it could be very, very easy to actually just move up and get that third Nexus really quickly. And it looks like Pusan learnt from the last game and has actually got some probes blocking the Zerglings from coming into the base. There's actually a lot more Lings this time, so very dangerous position to be in. That one probe should actually be able to hold this, so nice position there for Pusan to hold.
The cannon was a little bit late, so he put some probes there, maybe slightly too early, maybe a little bit too defensive, but the rush distances are actually quite long, even in the 2, which seems like they would be the nearer positions. The bottom 2 is because the army has to go around this kind of like island of a base and a hat on top of it every time they try to run around. So because of that, he might have sent the probes a little early, but it's better safe than sorry.
Yeah, we do see the core coming up as well, fairly standard timing. It doesn't look like Pusan is going up to a third Nexus just yet. And he actually stopped building probes at his Nexus as well, which I find quite surprising given the fact he is up on that 2 base. Now adding on the probes now.
One thing to note, he did snipe a drone, but in the process he lost his scouting probe, so now he has absolutely no information about what the Zerg is doing. I would like to see him try to send out a probe here to find out exactly what the Zerg is up to, maybe using the 3 Zealots as cover, and he does send his 3 Zealots out. Looks like he's going to apply a little bit of pressure.
Yeah, the good thing for him here as well is, as I mentioned before, it's going to be very hard for the Lings to actually contain the probe in, because there's actually 2 directions the probe can actually run around, because you do have this circular base in the middle as well, which separates the 2 of them in these horizontal positions, so quite a nice map feature to be able to use there to get the scouting probe out, which is not actually meant.
And
we do see a lot of Hydras coming as well.
Yeah. range on the way. Definitely a dangerous position. The lack of a scouting probe up to this point is going to leave him no awareness of this. He's baiting the Zealots into this extra base. He's probably going to try to catch him with the Hydralisk right after. This is a brilliant move from Jaedong here, catching all these Zealots off guard. He's actually...
That's actually like a weird Zealot jail almost. The Zealots are going to try and take down as many Zerglings as they can before they die, but they all go down in the end, and it's going to force Pusan to actually add some more cannons on. Perhaps need to add another couple. He is on the mineral only, so he should have the minerals to make all these cannons, but the second range finishes, he's going to be in a very bad position because he's going to lose his only gateway again, and his forge.
Yeah, there is another gateway that's coming up in the main, but it's not going to be on time. This one cannon is actually going to get sniped right away. The lack of the Zealots defending is going to kill him, and the probe's coming out to defend. One cannon goes up, but it's getting ranged by the...
Yeah, it looks like this is a very bad position for Pusan because the Hydras are going to be able to snipe this other cannon as it finishes building as well.
Oh my god.
And there's just not enough here to defend. And GG is called.
GG.
And in a surprising series almost, that was a very quick sweep by JD. So JD showing once again, even if it isn't the same player as last time, showing they're not a force to be reckoned with. Showing a very strong showing in the series, and Pusan unfortunately unable to really put up with the relentless pressure there from JD, is going to lose the series 3-0.
That last game in particular, I think, was brilliant play from Jaedong. Starting off with the fact that he knew he killed the scouting probe, he immediately goes into a Hydra bust. I'm not sure if he was initially planning on doing that, but it's the fact that he recognized the opening to do so, and he immediately threw down the gauntlet, decided to do it, and then he used that Zealot jail, as you called it, to trap the 3 Zealots that were out on the map being aggressive, made his push all that much stronger, and focused down the cannons that were probably a little bit too close, and it was just a brilliant play overall.
Yeah, so we also see Nina in chat has just appeared, so I'm not sure if Nina wants to join, but if you do, just hop on Discord, right server.
Yeah, I did send you an @cats message, so no excuses. Are we going into a commercial break by any chance?
Yeah, we will be. We will be.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll go take that.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll just quickly say we do see a quick 3-0 there from Jaedong against Pusan. As I said, showing a very strong show. Repeating myself a lot today, but that's fine. Showing a very strong performance in that first series. Here's Jaedong's second appearance, I guess, overall in the STPL. I'm very excited to see how they're going to do in future as well. Showing they're quite a strong player. And I'm looking forward to seeing more from Pusan as well. I somewhat feel that Pusan didn't show off their true potential today, and losing a pretty unfortunate series there, which, while it's unfortunate, it is just a show match. They will count towards the overall stats for the players, but overall there's no prize on the line, so nothing too much to worry about. Somewhat entertaining games, a bit aggressive there from Jaedong, but that's what you gotta expect. You go into these series, you don't know who you're going to be playing against, and you need to sort of prepare for everything almost. The good thing is, if Pusan goes against Jaedong again, I believe they'll have a good base of understanding on how they're playing as well. So, and if the other players, especially Protoss players, are going to watch these VODs, they'll also know. So Jaedong may need to mix it up next time. Other than that, pretty good showing from both players. And there's going to be a 2.5-minute fake commercial break just while I quickly set up the second game and get a drink. So I'll throw that up on stream now, and I'll see you in about 2.5 minutes.